Tell you what, it was an exciting evening at South Florence High School, opening their new Dub Stadium, multi-million-dollar stadium, as a matter of fact. Field looked phenomenal, brand new field house, the whole 9 yards, and it was on TV tonight, and the football was fantastic. Let's go up to Florence and get the action rolling. Bluffton in town to start off the season. Here come your 2021 Bruins, fans out in full force. And they were excited, and they should be. First quarter, Lenore Sellers rolls left. Mick White for the score. He was huge. Bruins failed on the extra point. However, it was 6-0. Later in the second quarter, Bruins getting it done on defense. How about DJ McRae? Yeah, coming up with a nice pick. And that defense, they knew they needed to step up, and they did so tonight. Defense turns into offense. South Florence marches right down the field. Lenore Sellers again. The Virginia commit punches it in. Bruins up 14-0, 16. Yeah, you're a special young man. Coach Marlowe and his squad getting it done on special teams as well. Singletary waiting for the punt. Almost blocked it there. But when you got a young man like this who's special, who's got wheels, and can cut it like that, you know things are going to work out in your favor, and it does. He takes it all the way to the house. Man, what a play right there. Fast forward midway through the third quarter with the Bruins comfortably ahead. They put the foot on the gas. Sellers showing off the arm, the dime to Jabrae Johnson, and Johnson wide open. Dude could have been more wide open than he was right there. You got to give all the credit to the world to Coach Marlowe and his staff. They came out with a fantastic game plan and got it done tonight. They win this one going away in their home opener on their brand new stadium on campus. 49-7 Bruins over Bluffton. They're 1-0 on the season. Got another home game next week with Manning in town. Should be yet another fantastic ball game, as Manning actually was scheduled to play tonight. However, COVID concerns forced them to cancel their game. However, they'll be ready to go next week when they travel to South Florence. In the second quarter, Knights trailing this one 14-12. But I tell you what, not for long. Terry McKiffin doing what he does. Scores touchdowns. The All-Zoner scored 4 times tonight. Solid evening, I'd say. Yeah. He's good, and he's back in the zone. Deuce Hudson, 2-point conversion. That's successful. 20-14 Knights. Lexington, though, they answer. Big fella, Tyler Walker. Hard to stop from there, and we're tied at 20. The ensuing kickoff. Darren Lloyd gets the rock on the 23 and puts on the Jets. Yeah, you're not going to catch that, young man. He's taken that one all the way to the house. Nice kickoff return for him. Huge win for West Florence. They go on the road, handle business against a 5A program, winning this one tonight in the Midlands, 42-33, as the Knights pick up their first win of 2021. All right, let's go to Darlington. The Nest for the Falcons in Richland Northeast, and here come those Falcons. Starting off here, Winston Harrison, the visiting team, making a run, trying to get through that Darlington defense, but not going to happen. Solid defense by both teams. Hey, the band out there as well, enjoying the festivities. Richland doing it again, right with the pass. James McCann Jr., nifty little room, but unable to muster much. Back and forth, these two defenses showing off. First game of the season, defenses usually, in most cases, dominate, and tonight was no exception, at least early on. Perkins, long pass, the nice catch here. That's a heck of a catch. But then after that, the Lightning came in, and there was a delay. They told everybody to exit the stadium, and they had a delay due to lightning, but when they were able to get back on the field, it was all Richland Northeast as they hand the Falcons a 29-7 setback as Darlington falls in their first game of the season. They'll have an opportunity to get that first win next week when they remain home to take on Timmonsville, who had this week off. We'll see if, in fact, Timmonsville is able to play next week, because right now they're in quarantine. So we'll keep you up to date on how that goes as next week comes. All right, let's move on to Class 4A. South Florence, big win last week to open their stadium. Could they make it 2 in a row as Manning came to Florence? And the Bruins, yeah, they came out on fire, up 41 in the second half. How about Lenora Sellers? The Virginia commits tiptoeing down the line. Yeah, give that young man pay dirt. Bruins led 48-0 at the break. Yeah, and they weren't done. Sellers going to his main man, McWhite, and this young man is having himself a season. Breaks loose from the crowd, 65 yards later, give 26. 55-0 Bruins, with still a lot of football left to go in this ball game. Toward the end of the third, a bouncing punt is going to be picked up. Singletary looking for a little bit of room. Coach Marlowe said he wanted to see a little bit special things from his special teams, and he got it. That sets up another opportunity for McWhite. Give that young man another score. Bruins all over Manning tonight. 65-0. Bruins go to 2-0 on the season. I spoke with the coach in this region earlier this summer, and he said arguably the most impressive and most improved team that he's seen was South Florence. Well, so far, that coach is correct. This football team is playing well. They're 2-0 on the season, but they got a big test next week. They go to the Midlands to take on Irmo. Drew Marlowe, yeah, he talked about this one, but he also talked about Irmo and where his football team is after this win. Man, they're playing good, but that game next week is going to be a challenge. And if they can get past that to go to 3-0, look out. The Bruins could be back on the rise in Class 4A. And that brings us to the Friday Night Rivals End Zone Game of the Week. We stay in Class 4A with another team in West Florence. And I have to give Greg and Jody all kinds of props, because at 8:30 this morning, we called and said, hey guys, can y'all be the Game of the Week? And they were absolutely phenomenal. They said, come on, let's do it. And we did it. Sherrall in town to take on the Knights. First game for the Braves and Andy Poole on the season. Second for the Knights. We go up to Knights Stadium, the opener of the new stadium. First game of that complex. And Terry McKithen, first play of the game, breaks off 67. That is the way to break in your house. McKithen having a fantastic season, and he just picked up where he left off last week. 7-0 home team. Sherrall, though, they answer back. Devin Gillespie, perfect strike. Jay Brown, the junior with the speed, in stride, rolls to the end zone, counter punch. 7-all after 2 possessions. Back come the Knights. They march right down the field, capping it off. Another touch from McKinney. Dude has tunnel vision. Jenneret called it last month. Said his senior was going to be a monster. 14-7 West. Right before the half, Big T back of the end zone. Third score in the first half for number 10. Yeah, and he was rocking and rolling. Look at the little Elvis Presley coming on. Yeah, there it is. 23-7 at the half. Second half adjustments worked. Andy Poole, Braves cash in. Ball out, however. Braves recover in the end zone. 23-14 in the third. We have a ball game. We move to the fourth. Home team looking to put this one to bed. Darren Lloyd with the sweet lullaby. That's your ball game, my friends. Knights get it done for the second consecutive week. They win this one 35-14, 2-0 on the season. The Knights are one of a handful of teams, just a handful, that have played 2 games this season. So they're doing a heck of a lot better than most teams. Braves fall to 0-1. Sherrall is scheduled as of right now to go to Darlington next week. That could change at any moment. The Falcons did not play tonight due to contract tracing. We'll see if that game does in fact happen. West Florence, they're looking for a game. We might find the answer to that here shortly, but as of right now, the Knights, well, we'll see who they're going to play in just a few minutes. And speaking of that, South Florence taking on Irmo. The best team in the area right now, gotta say, is this team right here. They're up 21-7 at the break. Lenora Sellers connects with Johnson for the quick score. Irmo down 28-7. Next drive for South Florence. Sellers, 5 touchdown passes. What a dime here to Singletary. He'll have 3 scores, and it's a 28-point lead for the Bruins. Irmo does strike back. They get a touchdown here. That cuts the lead to 35-14. But I'll tell you what, Trey McWhite, just a man. Scampers in and out of the yellow jacket jerseys to find pay dirt. 2 touchdowns on the night for that young man. And the Bruins absolutely hammered another football team. They win this one tonight, 63-28. South Florence has hung 50 on every opponent so far this season. They are 3-0 on the year. Man, this is a really, really good football team. Hats off to Drew Marlowe and his staff. It took him a little while to get things implemented. He has done that in the time he's been there going into the second season. He said going into this year, he learned a lot from last year about how to handle things better going into this year. And so far, they are looking mighty good. They're home next week back at Bruin Stadium. Lugoff Elgin comes to town. They're looking for a 4-0 start. If that happens, man, they're going to be really tough when region starts here in a couple of weeks, we hope. As of right now, though, that's what the schedule says, is they will be playing region games here in a couple of weeks. Maybe, but the Bruins are looking quite good. Hartsville, home at Kellytown Stadium for the first time this season, taking on a very good bunch from Camden, a ranked team as a matter of fact, and this was a very good ball game. We take you out to the action. Pick it up here. Bulldogs on the doorstep. Best up the middle. Scores for the visiting team. Back and forth we go. Hartsville looking to counter on that, and they do just that. Carmelo McDaniel, man, had a fantastic game last week. Had another one this week. Breaks the plane, gets the score. That dynamic duo in the backfield for Hartsville is legit. But so is this guy. On the pass, the dime. Yet I tell you what, Jonathan can flat run after the catch. He had a great game last week, does it again tonight. Yeah, this football team is legit. Later on, though, Camden with a chance to kind of put the nail in the coffin. It was a tight one here, but this touchdown by Drayton Barr would end up being the one that puts the Bulldogs over the top, as Camden comes into Kellytown Stadium and beats the Red Foxes tonight 43-37. Second consecutive game that the Red Foxes have battled, just came up a tad bit short. They fall to 0-2 on the season. Looking for a game next week, but they're not too far off. That takes us to the Friday Night Rivals End Zone Game of the Week. Ashley Ridge and Wilson. The first time the Tigers have played a regular season game on their new field, and just the second time they've actually played a game on campus. Remember, they did so last year. This was their season opener. How would they do against a team from down in the low country? Let's head up to the PD. Man, nice facilities at Wilson High School. Under the lights, we get action rolling. Ashley Ridge, well, they get the first points of the game. The kick up and true. 3-0 on the scoreboard. Scoreboard is the Swamp Foxes. However, the Tigers answer. Wilson on the doorstep. They're going to run the old jet sweep to perfection. Donnell Williamson, the junior, finding pay dirt. Tigers on the board. They led 7-3 at the break, so things were looking good for the team in purple. We move to the third. Foxes on the move. Xavier Proctor-Floyd with a dime to Malik Freeman. 1 foot down. What a grab. The senior wideout. You don't see that very often in high school, but you did here. 10-7 Ashley Ridge. Same score in the fourth. Tigers need to stop, but Proctor-Floyd delivers the dagger. That score put this one out of reach. Ashley Ridge, they go on to win this one 17-7. Tough night for the Tigers as they fall in their first game of the season. But, you know, every first game of the year is always a big test because you never know exactly what you're going to get out of your football team. There were some good things that Wilson did tonight. There were some other things, though, they needed to correct. They'll get an opportunity to do that as they turn the page from this one and prepare for their next game. All right, my friends, well, Sherrall back in the PD to take on a team from Darlington this time. Last time it was West Florence. The Braves came in that game a little banged up, had though some time to heal, and they came into Darlington looking to reverse course and pick up their first win of the season. Falcons looking to do the same after falling in their first game of the season. So a battle of teams looking for that first dub. And with that, we go to the nest, and here come the Falcons ready to play a little football, but it's the Braves who get the party started. Raw, yeah, she-raw that is. Jay Brown running around, has no issues, finds the house. 7-0, the Fighting Andy Pools. Yep, coach trying to figure it out. But Sherrall wasn't done in the scoring department. Malachi Roscoe fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, gets into the end zone, and that's another touchdown. And the Braves were playing really good football. Sherrall kicking it off. The ensuing kickoff after the touchdown. Wilson looking for a little running room. Oh, man, he puts on the Jets. Oh, that young man's fast. You're not catching 22. He houses that one for 6. Just like that, the Falcons on the board. They made themselves and put themselves in position after that score, but it wasn't nearly enough because Sherrall would pour it on after that. Braves go on to win this one 42-19 as the Braves pick up their first win of the season. Yeah, you fired up over there, aren't you, about them Braves winning that game?
Yeah, go Braves.
Yeah, see, there you go. Sherrall taking care of business tonight, getting the win. The Falcons drop to 0-2. Sherrall on the road again next week as they travel to Mullins, at least for the moment. It's kind of been the ongoing theme this year. Things change in a heartbeat. As for Darlington, well, we'll see what happens with them next week. To be determined as of right now. Anything can change, as it has most of the season. And we continue with the West Florence Knights going across into North Carolina to take on West Brunswick. Knights playing extremely well thus far this season. They didn't have a game last week, so they had a little time to practice, rest a little bit, and prepare for this game tonight before they open region next week. We go into North Carolina. There is head coach Jody Jenneret firing his club up. First drive of the game, Terry McKithen and the Knights on the move. McKithen is having a fantastic season, a Zoman season, I would say. Falls just a tad bit short of the end zone, but Jenneret says, you know what, you got us down there, big fella. Go ahead and finish it off, and McKithen does just that. Knights on the board as they take a 7-0 lead. Knights next drive. They go to Hudson. Deuce Hudson, quarterback keeper. Bowls over some defenders, picks up a huge chunk of real estate to keep the drive alive. Later in the drive, Hudson hands off to Darren Lloyd, who was forced out of bounds just shy of the goal line. But the Knights are back inside the 5-yard line. A few plays later, McKithen again, his second touch of the night. Knights increase their lead to 14 with just 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. But yeah, number 10 wasn't done posing or finding the end zone for that matter, because he's going to break off 41 here. And when he's done running, he's going to find himself another touchdown. His third of the quarter, and that was more than enough for West Florence as they would roll over West Brunswick 41-20, the final tonight, as the Knights continue their winning ways and their undefeated season. They're 3-0 after 3 games. Heading into region play next week, they will start the battle for Florence. No better way to start it than with the Wilson Tigers. It's the Knights, it's the Tigers, it's Wilson High next week to get things rolling in region play for both of those teams. Speaking of region, how about Hartsville? man, playing fantastic football. They welcomed Gilbert to town tonight, and this one was just as entertaining as they have all season long. First quarter, 13-yard line. Douglas finds Ja'Shawn Anderson for the score. That would put the Red Foxes on the board as they would take the early lead. Later in the quarter, though, Indians march down the field. Graham Woodbury finds the hole to put Gilbert on the board, and we are got a score of 7-all. Another Red Foxes touchdown. Later in the second quarter, Douglas hands off to Mr. Cole. He breaks it 79 yards. Foxes starting to pull away, up 21-7, looking for the upsets. But Gilbert, they're one of the best in the state for a reason, not going down quietly. Minutes after their Hartsville score, Indians find the zone again as they would punch it in for 6 more. This one back and forth. Hartsville actually scored late, went for the 2-point conversion, but Gilbert held them, and that's how this game ended. Gilbert wins it 48-47. Red Foxes are probably, I would go out on a limb and say, the best 0-3 football team in the state of South Carolina. All 3 of their games have all come down the wire against really good football teams. But Coach Calabrese will tell you, it's not what they've done to date. It's what they do moving forward, because now it starts region play. And they'll start next week against a tough bunch from Little River as they will head to North Myrtle Beach. We stay in that Region 6. Wilson on the road, going down to Charleston to take on Goose Creek. And we pick up the action here with the Tigers looking for a big win before they start region play. Wilson's first possession, though, would end with an interception, and the Gators would get into the end zone. Simmons, short run across the goal line, 7-0 Goose Creek. Yep, well, remember the name Simmons because he wasn't quite done, because he was just getting started. Later on, Wilson trying something to get something to happen, but that interception there, Singletary grabs it, makes something happen, and then that would lead to Simmons once again. Man, that young man is pretty good. Don't know much about him, but he seems to score touchdowns. 14-0 Gators, and they were still in the first. And this one would go Goose Creek's way as they would win this one 49-28. The Tigers still looking for their first win of the season as they drop to 0-2 going into that matchup against West Florence next week. We'll see if they can, in fact, get off the schneid and win their first game of the season. Looks like that leads us to another team that played just one game so far, and that's Myrtle Beach on the road at Darlington. Region opener for both of these clubs at the Nests. We go to the PD, get things going early on first quarter, and there was a lot of Malachi Washington. That young man had himself a monster first half, puts the Seahawks on the board early, up 7-0. They weren't done. Defense, after a 3-and-outs, they forced the Falcons to punt, and they marched right down the field when Cam Ward does the rest. Yeah, you know, when you got a 1-2 combination like the Seahawks have, it is tough to play defense. Back come the Seahawks. That's Jake Doty, younger brother of Luke Doty. We saw Luke do that during his career at Myrtle Beach, and now Jake is doing the same thing, 21-0 Seahawks. And then it's time for the Clemson commit. Adam Randall showing up. Oh, man, that's just way too easy. You give him that kind of time, and he's going to kill you. 28-0 at that point, and this one was all Seahawks. Myrtle Beach rolls in this one. They hang 76 on the Falcons tonight. And that was even when Mickey Wilson took a lot of his starters out midway through the game. So that just shows you how much talent that football team has to hang 76 on somebody with your second, third string in. Seahawks go to 2-0. More importantly, they are 1-0 in region. The Falcons still in search of their first win of the year as they drop to 0-3 and 0-1 in Region 6. We stay in Region 6 as we go into Florence. West Florence and Wilson, the first meeting of this Florence rivalry. We get the action going here at Tiger Stadium. It was already 26-7 West, leading this one and looking for more. Deuce Hudson handing off, and Zayshawn in for the score. That made it 32-7. Then 29 seconds to go before the half. Wilson trying to get a shot, and they go to Butler. But unfortunately, he's going the other way. Pass interference, interception, the whole 9 yards, you name it. Wilson just trying their best to get something going on here. Midway through the third quarter, Darren Lloyd punches it in for another Knights touchdown. And the West Florence Knights and Jody Jenneret were having themselves a time. They were going to go ahead and put this one to bed, as they would end up winning this one. Defense was big. Offense put up points. That's a recipe for success, and it was tonight. West Florence wins it 53-7 as they continue their perfect season in 2021. They are 4-0. More importantly, they are 1-0 in region. Tigers still searching for that first win of the year. West, well, they have a big one next week as they head to Kellytown Stadium to take on Hartsville. As for Wilson, they will remain home at Tiger Stadium to take on Darlington. But we caught up with West Florence head coach Jody Jenneret to get his thoughts on this game and the season so far. Game of the week next week between Dillon and Aner. We'll see how that one plays out. Should be a good one. It always is when those two meet, and Aner's playing really well, and obviously what we saw from Dillon tonight, they are as well. Right out the gates, get that big win over Loris to start region play off on the right foot. And that takes us to the Friday night rival CW End Zone game of the week, and it's a Region 6 Class 4A showdown. North Myrtle Beach, 6th in the state. Hartsville, and I told Calabrese this earlier this week, the best 0-3 football team in the state of South Carolina. He said, you know what, I would rather be the best team in South Carolina that's 3-0. Oh well, it is what it is. So, but tonight, it's a region. This is when it counts. These games moving forward get you into the playoffs. Both these teams knew that. We head to Little River and show you the highlights of this one. We get things going with the Chiefs coming on the field to get the party started. Their first drive of the game, Cam Freeman, Chris Webb, third down. Webb picks up a big chunk of real estate to keep the drive alive. Then Elijah Vereen coming off a 6-touchdown performance last week in the Chiefs win. Yeah, he finds another one, 6-0 after the blocked PAT. Ensuing kickoff, it's Coe taking it and finding some running room. You let 14 do that, and the end result is 90 to pay dirt. Red Foxes take the lead up 7-6 on the number 1 team, or the number 6th ranked team in Class 4A. Hartsville's next possession, Jayshawn Anderson is an absolute monster for this Red Fox offense. This 14-yard scamper would end with another touchdown. Hartsville up 14-6. Could there be one of those games in Little River? Well, the Hartsville defense, yeah, they were coming up big. Freeman airs it out, picked off this time by the Red Foxes in that secondary. Calabrese said he has been pleased with the way his team has responded, and they did that tonight. Then it's the other half of that double duo, Carmelo McDaniel. He'll finish off the drive on this 5-yard touchdown scamper, and it's 21-6. Hartsville, man, yeah, they were pouring it on. Just before the half, though, Douglas airing it out to Jonathan Feaster, and Flowmeister is in for 53 yards for the score. Red Foxes go up 28-13. Hartsville's first possession of the second half, McDaniel again. This time, 57 yards. And by watching the lack of tackling by the Chiefs on that play, Matt Reel is not going to be too excited to watch the film tomorrow. 35-13 Hartsville. North Myrtle, though, would not go away. Freeman connects with KJ Stanley. Nice grab, 32 yards, 2-possession ball game. Chiefs, though, down by 15. Just when you thought it was going to be a ball game, Douglas finds Flowmaster for a huge gain. It looked as though Vereen had the interception, but there's no replay. It stood, and the Red Foxes and Anderson finish off the drive with another touchdown. This one, all Hartsville. They come to Little River, and they send a clear message that they are not going to be overlooked in their drive for this region championship. They knock off the Chiefs 45-20. First loss of the year for North Myrtle Beach as they fall to 2-1. First win of the season for the Red Foxes, but that win is big because it's a region win. We'll see what happens next week because they've got another tough test as they will welcome the undefeated Knights from West Florence. As for North Myrtle Beach, it doesn't get any easier for them either because they have South Florence coming to town, who is also ranked in the state of South Carolina. It's going to be another showdown between two ranked teams in Little River. That's why they call this region the SEC of South Carolina, because each week is a dogfight. We caught up with Calabrese after this one, got his thoughts on this game and what it meant for his football team to beat a solid football team, but also get that first region win. I was telling you, that football team is for real. Two of the teams they lost to late in the game were ranked teams going into that specific game. So Hartsville is legit. Another team that's legit, South Florence. We talked about them earlier in the week. They came into tonight undefeated. They took the fourth-ranked team in the state, a state championship contender year in and year out, to 3 overtimes before falling to South Point 33-27. I'm telling you what, folks, Drew Marlowe has his football team rolling. They are going to be a tough out for anybody in that region. I don't care what you have and what you know, South Florence is going to bring it, and we'll see how they do next week against North Myrtle Beach. But man, this region, as it always is, it may actually be tougher this year than it's been in previous years, and that's saying something. Whoever comes out of that region may end up playing for the state championship, which it has for the last couple of years, but man, they are just good from top to bottom. We'll see what the Bruins do next week when they come here to the Grand Strand. We start off this evening in the SEC of South Carolina high school football, and that's Class 4A Region 6. And I'll tell you what, West Florence has been on a roll, undefeated on the season, playing extremely well up to tonight's, taking on Hartsville, who came down to Little River last week and knocked off one of the best in South Carolina in the Chiefs from North Myrtle Beach, playing extremely well. Knew they had a solid football team. An 0-3 start wasn't indicative of what this team was able to accomplish. These two clashed at Kellytown Stadium. And with that, we go up to the action. It's the Knights and the Red Wolves. Get it going here. Start of the second half. Red Wolves up 21-13. Knights looking for the fourth down stop, and it's Isaiah Hunter coming up big. Man, stuff them for the loss. Students not quite impressed by that at Theo. Later on, Knights looking to score on the 49. Anthony Hicks. Well, he stopped. And, of course, a back-and-forth defensive explosion. But that's when Carmelo McDaniel goes to work. Right up the gut. Dude is looking to invest in some real estate. Takes it down to the West Florence 17-yard line before he's finally brought down. Red Foxes looking to punch in again. And they do. A few plays later, McKendry Douglas, the quarterback on the keeper, extends the Hartsville lead to 27-13. Red Foxes looking to blow this one open. Another 4 and out by the Knights, and another touchdown by the Red Foxes. Jay-Sean Anderson, he's in the house. That 1-2 combo of Anderson and McDaniel is just too nasty. That seals it for Hartsville. They win their second straight region game as they remain perfect in region. As a matter of fact, they are now in sole possession of the region race after 2 games. They're the only team in that region that is 2-0 after a 33-13 win. Second straight week that Jeff Calabrese and his football team has knocked off a team ranked in the top 10 in the state of South Carolina. We caught up with Calabrese, get his thoughts on this one as they head into a bye. I'm sure they're trying to find a game, but as of right now, that's to be determined. As for West Florence, they'll go back home to take on Myrtle Beach. We'll get to the Seahawks later. Calabrese, your thoughts? All right, that takes us to another team that's red hot despite coming off a loss last week, their first of the season at South Point in overtime. That would be the Bruins from South Florence, home at Bruins Stadium to entertain the Chiefs, who are looking to bounce back after their first loss of the season to that Red Foxes team last week. Let's go to Bruins Stadium, pick up the action here going early on. It's Johnson battling for some yardage here on the nice grab. That is down into Chiefs territory, and they're looking for a few more. A little bit later on, it's Singletary gaining a few more yards as the drive continues. Time to go to the ground game. Quincy Rhodes slipping in and out and finally finds pay dirt. Give that young man 6 for his hard work. And just like that, the Bruins extend their lead. They weren't quite done. Getting back into the offensive flow. Tye McWhite, my man. Yeah, I'm telling you what, this young man is tough. Gains a lot of yards there on that run. That would lead to this. A little confusion in the middle, but not from Rhodes, who was able to pick up some yardage and a touchdown. That one would put this one to bed. South Florence bounces back. They beat the Chiefs, winning this one at Bruin Stadium in Florence. Your final tonight, 23-17. That is the second consecutive loss, though, for the Chiefs as they drop 2 straight. They're now 0-2 in region play. This is the defending region champs, and they've got work to do as they find themselves winless in region and 2-2 overall. As for the Bruins, they win their 4th game of the year. More importantly, they pick up their first region win of the season in their first region game of the year. But the other side note in this one was their quarterback, Lenore Sellers, goes down in the first half. Unclear what his status is for the rest of the season, much less next week. Hopefully he'll be able to play. We'll see. We'll see what the extent of that injury is, but the Virginia commit was not able to finish tonight. His football team did. I'm sure he's pleased with that. We'll see what the injury is moving forward. We'll see if they need what they're going to do next week as they travel to Darlington to take on the Falcons. As for North Myrtle Beach, they'll come home, look at the film, and go back to work. They got Wilson coming to town next week as the Tigers will be in Little River to take on the Chiefs. All right, let's go up to Wilson as the Tigers took on the Falcons from Darlington. The Virgil Wells Memorial Trophy up for grabs in this one at Tiger Stadium. Presley airing it out to Walters, who gets in the end zone for the touchdown. Ref says, yep, it's good. And the Tigers were off and running. Darlington, yeah, they've had some issues this season, and those issues continue tonight. Butler picks it up off the turnover and rumbles in for another score. So not only was the offense getting involved, but the Tiger defense was doing it as well. And the team in purple was having themselves a time. Falcons doing their best to try to get something going on the offensive side of the ball, but Jalen Brown says not going to happen. The interception for number 24 would put the Tigers back in business. Butler, having a season, walks in. Easy touchdown for that young man. He's having an all-zone season, as a matter of fact. Number 2 doing it all for the Tigers as they win this one 55-0 was the final, as the Virgil Wells Memorial Trophy stays with Wilson as the Tigers pick up their first win of the season. More importantly than that, they pick up a region win, handing the Falcons their second region loss of the year, as they're still looking for that first win of 2021. We'll see if they can grab it next week, but it won't be easy as they welcome South Florence to Darlington and the Nest. As for Wilson, they're coming down to the Grand Strand next week to take on those Chiefs from North Myrtle Beach, so we'll see how that one plays out. Start off tonight in the SEC of South Carolina, Class 4A Region 6. Big matchup in the PD, Florence to be exact. The Knights from West looking to bounce back after that tough loss at Kellytown last week. Anytime anybody goes into Hartsville, it's always tough to win there. That's why the Red Foxes are so good at home. They proved that again last week. That's why they're 2-0 and sitting in sole possession of first place entering tonight. As for Myrtle Beach, coming off that heartbreaking loss last week to Fort Dorchester, a game they had in hand at halftime. Second half issues cost them. But this was about the most important aspect of the season. It's region play. Seahawks wanted to start it with a win. Florence, they wanted to get back into the win column after I said losing to Hartsville last week. How would things transpire at Knight Stadium. We go to Florence, South Carolina, get the action rolling here in the second half. It's 14-7 Myrtle Beach. West driving, but Cam Ward introduces himself to Mr. Terry McKithen for the loss. Fast forward to fourth quarter, after a missed field goal, Myrtle Beach Knights get the ball back, 6 minutes left in the game, and they are driving. Hudson and company looking for the equalizer. Ball bounces up, but you got to give credit to the Knights. That is one heck of a grab there. Man, Steven Small sideline keeps the drive alive. 1:33 left in the game. Ball on the 32-yard line. Hudson steps back, scrambles, loses 3 defenders, and finds McKithen, who does the rest from there. That's why Hudson's so good. He's just an all-around talent. McKithen is as well, and the drive stays alive. Last play of the game, 11 seconds on the clock, Knights on the 10. Hudson goes for the quarterback keeper, but he is stuffed. That seals the win for Myrtle Beach as the Seahawks hang tough to beat West Florence tonight, 14-7. It was as expected. Seahawks go to 2-0 in region. Knights fall for the second consecutive week to 1-2. Still, a lot of football left to go. 4 more weeks before we get into the postseason. So, how does next week look? Well, on paper, it looks pretty darn good because you've got Hartsville and Myrtle Beach set to collide next Friday in the ABC 15 End Zone Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week. It's the television game of the week on CW21. If they can win that one, or whomever wins that one, I should say, will be in the driver's seat to win this region and have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which start a month from tonight. As for West Florence, right now, they have a bye unless they want to try to find a game, but they're going to lick their wounds, so to speak, and try to get back into the win column when they get back into region play here in a couple of weeks. But tonight, it was all about the Seahawks. Caught up with Mickey, get his thoughts on this game and moving forward. All right, that takes us to South Florence and Darlington. Now remember, going into this game, the Bruins suffered a major setback last week with the loss of Lenoris Sellers as we go to the nest. And there is Lenoris on the sidelines after having minor surgery last week. He is listed as week to week. Get things going here with the Darlington on the move. Quincy Rhodes filling in for Lenoris, gets the touchdown there, and that was the start of a big evening for the team in whites. Malik Terry and his offense going back to work. The big fella cutting through that Falcons defense picks up a nice chunk of real estate to keep the drive alive. Moments later, Johnson, end zone, another touchdown for the Bruins. DeBray having himself a nice season. Sellers watching, and he's going to like this. Terry, big push, gets down inside the 1. They're looking to give him a touchdown, but not going to happen, so they give it to the big man across the middle. That is a touchdown, and that was a lot tonight. A lot of touchdowns tonight. South Florence goes on to roll over Darlington 76-0. What the Bruins offense has done this season is rather remarkable. They're just putting up huge numbers, and tonight was no different as they run their record of 5-1. More importantly than that, they are 2-0. So South Florence, Hartsville, and Myrtle Beach are all tied at the top of Class 4A Region 6. And all 3 have yet to play each other. It's going to be a wild ride over the next couple of weeks to determine who will be the region champ. But as of right now, those 3 are in prime position to make the postseason when it begins at the end of October. South Florence back on the road next week to take on Wilson, who we'll get to in just a second. Darlington will head to the beach next week to take on Matt Reel and North Myrtle Beach in Little River. And that takes us to Wilson and North Myrtle Beach. Those 2 meeting tonight in Little River. A big game for both of these teams in their quest to punch their ticket to the postseason. Chiefs without Elijah Vereen, out with an ankle injury. There he is. He's listed as day-to-day. Defense came up big. All-zoner TJ Cox. Yeah, records the sack. Man is a beast. I don't know why you want to do that to that young man, TJ. Nevertheless, though, that puts the Chiefs in an offensive position. Cam Freeman, darts. Trace Hall, end zone. North Myrtle Beach on the board, up 7-0. Chiefs go back on the defensive. Freeman, this time on the keeper on 4th and goal. Extends that lead to 14. The offense was hitting tonight for Matt Reel and his football team. We move to the second. Freeman, the all-zoner with another dime, and talk about pin placement. Chris Webb with a diving touchdown. 21-0, team in yellow. Chiefs putting on a display. And for good measure, after a turnover, Hooks delivers one more time for North Myrtle Beach. This one all Chiefs. They roll 41-7, your final in Little River. Big win for North Myrtle Beach in their quest to return to the postseason. As they record their first region win of the season, they get a game above 500, improving to 3-2 with Darlington coming to town next week. As for the Tigers, they dropped to 1-4, 1-2 in region, so they're still in the playoff hunts, but they're going to have to win some ball games down the stretch against some pretty quality football teams to get themselves back into the postseason, and it starts next week with the Bruins at Tiger Stadium. Let's move over to Class 4A Region 6, South Florence and Wilson. Midway through the first quarter, South Florence has the ball on the Tiger 1-yard line. And give credit to Quincy Rhodes, man, calls his own number, been having a stellar season since coming in for Lenora Sellers a couple of weeks ago. He has done very well. And that would give the Bruins an early 8-0 lead after the 2-point conversion. After a Tiger 4-and-out, Bruins march down the field. This time, Malik Terry takes it to the house to extend the South Florence lead to 14. Bruins had the foot on the pedal. Fast forward second quarter. Wilson looking to put points on the board again. Walters finds the hole. Wilson starting to build some momentum heading into halftime. But the Bruins, just too much after Wilson would cut into it. Rhodes again, taking it himself, going the distance. And that 6 there would seal it for Drew Marlowe and this football team as South Florence wins tonight 38-7 to remain perfect in region play. Bruins improve to 6-1, 3-0 in region. Tigers fall to 1-3, 1-5. South Florence, they got a test coming their way next week as Hartsville will make their way to Bruins Stadium to take on South Florence. And if South Florence can get past the Red Foxes, it's going to set up a monster clash in 2 weeks. So we'll get to that in just a few minutes. As for Wilson, they're going to come down to the beach next week and take on Mickey Wilson and those Seahawks. But tonight, it was all about South Florence. They came in, they took care of business. Drew Marlowe pleased with Quincy Rhodes, and he spoke about him after the game. And the gauntlet is coming because they've got Hartsville and then Myrtle Beach. The next 2 weeks will tell the tale about the Bruins and their quest for a region championship. A team that needed a region win badly, North Myrtle Beach at home tonight, taking on Darlington, who's had their struggles this season. We go to Little River and get the action going. Falcons with the miscue early on, over the head, ball loose. Chandler McCall picks it up in the end zone, the all-zoner with the touchdown. Chiefs are off and running, up 7-0. Offense gets going again. Travarius Hooks had himself a night, finds plenty of room and a touchdown. That extends the Chiefs' lead to 14-0. Hooks wasn't done, the band played. Hooks one more time, following his blockers. Hits pay dirt once again. That extends the Chiefs' lead to 21-0. But they weren't done. Cam Freeman getting into the act. The all-zoner finds Chris Webb. And I'll tell you what, Webb is having himself a nice little season. The baseball standout, doing it on the football field. He would help his team to the win, as this one was all North Myrtle Beach as the struggles for the Falcons continue. North Myrtle hangs 60 on them en route to a 60-0 win tonight. Chiefs, more importantly, they run their region record to 2-2 in their quest to reach the postseason in 2021. Falcons still looking for their first win. North Myrtle, they got a big test next week. They go to Knights Stadium to take on West Florence, who had a bye this week. So the Knights have had 2 weeks to prepare for North Myrtle Beach, which whom they will see this time next week. And that, my friends, takes us to the Friday Night Rivals End Zone Game of the Week. Hartsville and Myrtle Beach, both teams entered the day perfect in region play, sitting atop the region along with South Florence. We saw what the Bruins did already as they ran their record to 3-0. Whoever would win this one would be tied with the Bruins in that region race to win the Region 6 championship. Hartsville looking for their first win at Doug Shaw. They haven't had success there, hoping tonight would be the night, but the Seahawks have been playing very well as of late. Doug Shaw Memorial, the site for this one, and it was a beautiful night here on the Grand Strand for some football between these two old rivals. We get the action going. First quarter, Seahawks break through. Malachi Washington spoke with him before the game, said, "You're going to have a good one." He said, "I will." 7-0. He did right there, and the Seahawks were off and running. But Hartsville would answer. Jay-Sean Anderson and this Hartsville running attack has been brutal all season. They continued that here, at least up to this point. That tied the game at 7. After that, though, it was all Seahawks. Adam Randall, the Clemson commit from the Rhino package, right up the gut and into your living room. He would have another stellar night. 14-7 Seahawks. Myrtle not done. They go to the air show. Ryan Berger, the app commits, with a dime to Jake Doty. 21-7. Doty and the Seahawks having themselves a time as they would extend their lead. After a miscue and a fumble, the Seahawks get another opportunity, and Berger uses his legs to get in the end zone this time. Yeah, it wasn't the night that Hartsville was hoping for, and it's exactly what the Seahawks were planning on doing, and that was winning and winning big. They did. They beat Hartsville tonight 47-7. The Seahawks run their region record to 3-0 as the Seahawks and Bruins are on a collision course for that game in 2 weeks, depending on, of course, what happens next week. But if both teams can win next Friday, man, it is going to be a packed house at Bruins Stadium 2 weeks from tonight. But still got football to go next week. Red Foxes, they go back to work as they lose for the first time in region, and it doesn't get much easier for them because they will head to South Florence, as we alluded to. Myrtle Beach will take on Wilson next week. But man, I'm telling you what, the way this region is shaping out, like it is every year, it goes down to the wire, and this year is going to be no different. It's setting up to be a fantastic finish in Region 6. Looking forward to seeing how the next 3 weeks play out as these teams, all of them, battling for region championships. More importantly, a lot of these clubs are just battling to make it to the postseason. And teams that win in this region and go to the postseason always seem to go deep in the playoffs. We'll see if that is again true in 2021.
Go up to Hartsville, where the Red Foxes looking to snap their 2-game losing streak against the Wilson Tigers. We picked this one up after halftime. Red Foxes already up 14-0 as the all-zoner Carmelo McDaniel finds the hole and the end zone. A name like Carmelo, you got to be a baller. Hartsville rolling. Fans were loving it here. Now we get to a minute to go in the third now. McKendry Douglas hands this one off to McDaniel again. And this might be the play of the night. Look at this. He gets hit, ganged up. This is the 10-yard line. He's stopped, right? He keeps pushing at the 5. He breaks loose and stretches into the goal line. That's a touchdown. He will not be denied. Red Foxes moving that pile for the score, and Hartsville starting to run away with it now, but Wilson did hang tough. They get on the board here. Bryant McCarmit finds Zonde Butler. Nice grab there. 6 points, but that score not going to be enough. Hartsville goes on to beat Wilson 28-14. The Red Foxes will now face Darlington at home next week. All right, stick around. We are going to start with Myrtle Beach going up into the PD to take on South Florence. This was another good game. We had a lot of tight ones across the area. We're going to start here with some highlights. The middle to get the Bruins back on top over Myrtle Beach. This is in the third quarter here. The Bruins really needed this one. They needed the win to claim the top spot in the region, currently held by the Seahawks. Myrtle Beach's Ryan Berger finding his own number there, calling his own number there again on the score. He really carried the load tonight. This is late in the fourth quarter, I believe now. Myrtle Beach driving the clock. South Florence would end up getting it back. Is this Berger here? Yeah, here we go. Now we know what we're talking about. Berger calling his own number there, running the ball. Quarterback there. So now we got the scene set. It's 21-17. That was 7:16 left in the fourth quarter. And the Seahawks would get a stop here. Myrtle Beach was trying to run out the clock, or excuse me, the Bruins would. So now they've got the ball, chance to win it. Throw one deep, it works out for them. That's not really their game. So again, down 4 here late in the fourth. They had a shot there, but they just couldn't capitalize on it. And as you can tell there, Myrtle Beach celebrating. They get the win. This one was 21-17, the final. Now we're moving on to the Fairmont Golden Tornadoes hosting the Arlington Falcons, still looking for their first one of the season against the visiting West Florence Knights. We picked this one up midway through the first quarter. West Florence has the ball in Falcon territory when Deuce Hudson, another great game, another great name there. And you know you're cool when you can just walk into the end zone like that. Not even an issue. Knights up 7-0. Falcons looking to respond here. Tyrone Perkins with a dime to Travis Montgomery. Put Darlington in striking distance here. Number 40 loves it. He's dancing, we're having fun, but a few plays later, the backup quarterback, Jamascus Brown, who would fumble that snap, and that would lead to a Falcons failed fourth down conversion. And moving on now, I think we picked this one up in the second half. Actually, no. I guess we said we don't need the highlights. 45-0. That tells the story from that old game. We're going to start with our Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week. Top 10 rivalry matchup between South Florence and West Florence. Major playoff seeding implications on the line here. As these teams meet up somewhere other than Memorial Stadium for the first time in 53 years. The Knights showing out early for their home fans. Stephen Smalls with a big play. See what I did there? Picks up the fumble, takes it 55 yards to the house. His teammate Kelvin Hunter says, hey, that looked like a lot of fun. I'm going to get in on the action. He scores on a fumble recovery on the next Bruins possession to make it 14-0 Knights. Then it was the special teams' turn to get in on the action. Franklin Emerson, he blocks this punt, takes out the cameraman, and then he gets on his own block punt in the end zone for a score. Knights rolling here up 21-0. But South Florence was not about to be blanked in the first half. They've got a really good offense, and they're going to take a deep shot here late in the half. Defender trips up there, falls over. Quincy Rhodes finds Jabray Johnson all alone. He's able to literally walk into the end zone. So we head into halftime, 21-7. And we pick this one up in the fourth now, same score. Rhodes launches another deep one, and again it's to Johnson, who absolutely bosses his defender. Catches the Knight there, tosses him down on his way for 6. Bruins making a one-score game here, 21-14 after the PAT. And then after a fumble recovery, South Florence back down near the goal line, and Malik Terry here runs it right side, ties the game up with just over 4 minutes left. So they've come all the way back here, but West Florence had not scored on offense all game until Deshaun Johnson, or Jason Goins, goes 38 yards. He puts the Knights back on top, 28-21 with about 3 minutes on the clock. The drama not over though. Huge play right here. Rhodes rolls out again, finds his main man Johnson down the left sideline for a third time. This is a 65-yard score. So the Bruins now about to tie it up with just over 2 minutes left. But look at this right here. His teammate takes his helmet off right there, and you'll see the flag coming in the lower right corner. So that backs up this PAT, a 15-yard penalty, and the PAT to tie it up here, it's being just short. Huge play right there. So now, last chance for South Florence here. 4th down and 1, backed up on their own goal line, and yeah, Rhodes could not escape there. So that would make it a 28-27 final. West Florence would survive. And that creates a three-way tie between these two and Hartsville in the region standings. Hartsville wins the tiebreakers. So they're going to go into the playoffs as the 2 seed. South Florence will be the 3, and then West Florence, despite the big rivalry win at home, will enter as the 4th seed. And now Darlington still looking for their first win of the season as they host Hartsville. The Red Foxes playing not knowing how the West Florence-South Florence game would decide their seeding fate. We already covered that one. That went well for Hartsville, and so would this game. Darlington hucks it down the field on 3rd down. They're intercepted by Hartsville, so they've got good field position, and that sets up Deshaun Anderson. Takes the handoff and bursts 30-plus yards there, so the Red Foxes strike first. The Falcons' defense would step up a little bit, though. On the next possession, they're able to get back there and upset McKendry Douglas, and he throws a pick there. So they get the ball back. They've got great field position on the plus side of the field. They're looking to tie it up, but here on 4th down, the Falcons get stuffed. And it's stingy Red Foxes defense. Hartsville able to keep them off the scoreboard. Second quarter now, Red Foxes really just put it into another gear at this point. Carmelo McDaniel there pounded it in for a short touchdown. Told you earlier, because of the South Florence-West Florence game, they will enter the playoffs as the 2 seed. The Red Foxes now get it back down into the red zone, and this time it's Anderson scoring his 2nd touchdown of the night on the ground. 5 minutes left in the half, and Hartsville would use all of that. They were not done scoring here. Darlington stopped again on a 3rd down, forced to punt, putting Hartsville at midfield, and McDaniel would end up breaking a big one. Well, here actually, again, this is the 3rd down stop we got there. Darlington unable to really get anything going on offense, and this is McDaniel breaking a big one. 50-plus yards for 6. Told you, they picked this one up in the second quarter. Still time to do more damage, too. After another pick, it is once again that man, McDaniel. He's going to get it once more, take it to the right side this time. Switch it up a little bit. It's your 3rd score of the night, finding the end zone. So that would take us into the half, 34-0 there, and get the chain. He scored 3 touchdowns and a half, and they actually did the exact same thing in the second half. 34 more on the board, 68-0 the final there.